We are joined now by Bill Hillmann from Chicago, who has run with bulls more than 300 times. We're not exactly sure how many times because he says he stopped counting at 300. Bill, it's so great to have you with us. I've got a lot of questions. I want to begin with this. I think it was about 20 years ago you read the Ernest Hemingway novel, The Sun Also Rises, and it inspired you to do two things. One is to write. The other is to run with bulls. And you've done it, as I mentioned, many, many times. And I want to get right into the meat of it. Tell us about the very first time you ran with bulls. What was that like? And why did it inspire you to continue to do it over and over again?
You know, the first time I saw a bull on the street, on street level, the bull had bucked a person, and that person was floating over the bull's head, and it just kind of floated past, and they crashed into the wall. All hell broke loose. It was just total chaos. People running, screaming, flying past me. Ended up being one bull left at the curve, and I ended up, seeing that bull. I knew that was very dangerous when a bull got separated, and that bull got up, started running, and I ran as fast as I could. It felt like he was looking right at me at that moment. And when I was finished, I had this feeling that, I had never had before. I played football, I boxed, I got in a lot of crazy situations, but this situation was so intense and so wild and so fun, that I just knew I had to keep doing it.
Your definition of fun is different than mine. I want to educate our audience if we can. And I think sometimes the running of the bulls is portrayed as a bunch of guys on a bachelor party, they get drunk and they jump over a fence and they get chased by bulls. Yet there's a lot more to it than that. And there's a specific purpose. And there's why people run this on a regular basis and do it almost professionally. Can you explain what is the purpose of the bull run?
The runners are basically cowboys on foot. We're there to guide the herd and protect the herd and keep the herd intact. You really can't describe it. It's so powerful. Time slows down. You feel the animal breathing at your back. You hear the claps of their hooves. Sometimes they bump you a little with their nose. They bump you with their nose a little bit in your back or your butt, or they tap you with their horns a little bit.
You're describing it as such a majestic experience, but let's not forget the danger that's involved, and people do get killed doing this, and you yourself have been gored by bulls. And in your book, you talk about that even as you looked down and saw the horn through your leg, you knew that you would run again. Explain that.
When you're in the eye of the storm, you get gored eventually. I almost was gored 20 times before I actually got gored, right? I was able to escape. This last time in 2014, I just wasn't able to escape. I got mixed up with some tourists. They pushed me down, fell right in front of the bull. As the bull was coming in, they're these graceful animals. They really can't do anything that isn't graceful and beautiful. So as he was coming in, he's time is slowed down. I'm watching this in slow motion as it's happening, and he's sort of gracefully lunging down at me. His eye is sort of eyeing me. Luckily, someone fell on my shoulder. My knee popped up, and he switched target to my knee, to my leg, my thigh, and he gored me in the thigh and lifted me. And at that point, it's a severely traumatic moment. So you start to go into denial. I thought he was under me. He's not really goring me. My mind is just going into survival mode. Of course, immediately I said, I'm going to run again, hopefully in a few days.
Amazing. Amazing. Finally, I have to ask you this because obviously there are people watching right now that don't agree with this sport. There are animal rights activists that hate the fact that this happens. We know what happens when the bulls go into the bull ring with the matadors. And many of them reached out to you while you were in the hospital and said they hoped you would die because you deserved it for what you were doing. What do you say to those people?
This is a religious festival. Leave it alone. Don't be xenophobic. Don't be bad people. It's okay if you love animals. We love animals. The Spanish love bulls. They actually worship them almost as gods. These people have a right to their culture. They have a right to their cultural identity. Leave them alone. Leave them alone, please. Don't be a xenophobe. Okay, it's okay if you love animals. Don't be a xenophobe and attack this culture. Please give them the dignity they deserve.
Bill, Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much.
That's Bill Hillmann. We'll be back with more Sports Wrap right after this.